Hello. I think I'm live everywhere now. Hello. Sorry if you joined me on Instagram, you were waiting about a minute for everybody else for me to figure out the link and everything on Facebook. Hi everyone. It's Helen, and forgive my voice. I've got a bit of a sore throat at the moment, which I'm hoping will last out for the next 10-15 minutes or so. I'm not going to kind of go live for too long today. But I'll reintroduce if you've not come across me before. I'm Helen, and I'm a specialist trauma therapist, and I work with women and children to help them recover and heal from the experiences in life that cause them to be extremely unhappy. So I guide them on that journey back to themselves, back to happiness, back to joy, and accepting that joy that they have in themselves. So I try to come live every Thursday. It's not consistent because sometimes my client work does take over. Hiya, Laura. Hello. Oh, I love having a cheerleader. Thank you, Laura. I always love it when I know somebody's watching. Otherwise, I'm talking to myself. And whilst I talk to myself in my own house and my own living room, it's not the same when you go live. But so today, if you've caught up on a couple of lives before, I do tend to swear and I do tend to rant a little bit. So if you're okay with a bit of swearing and you're okay with a bit of ranting, but it all makes sense, then this is the place, and I'm your person. Thank you, Laura, cheering me on. Laura's cheering me on, which is fantastic. So I wanted to come in today, and I changed my focus for today because I was going to talk about something different. And then this week I met with a most amazing client. I've slowed down my client work during April because I like to have a bit of a breather, so I don't take as many on. But this lovely lady asked for my support, and she's had so many people try to help her before, and there's been lots of lack of support in those areas, lack of understanding. And so she came to me a little while ago, a couple of weeks ago, I think it was, and I met up with her this week, and her first words were, I've got anger issues. And I was like, okay, let's explore those anger issues. Not a term I like, but let's explore them. And she said, well, everybody tells me I have them. Everybody tells me I have anger issues, and that this is the way that I'm perceived. This is the way that I am then. So this label, hi, Anna, nice to see you. This label that people who are close to her have been giving her is the one that she's been kind of walking around with. And I sat with her and I just said, you don't have anger issues. And she was like, oh, okay. And she said, are you sure? I said, yeah, I'm kind of 99.9% certain you don't have anger issues. And instead, what we did was we explored what's behind anger. And I always kind of describe anger as a bit of a bodyguard. Sorry, I keep on forgetting to turn things off. Hang on. Anger's a bit of a bodyguard. Okay, it's probably the one. It's one of the emotions that kind of comes into play when all the other emotions behind it are too vulnerable. And so anger comes in and it kind of goes, it's okay, guys, I've got this. I'll get you through. We just have to battle through in this particular way and it'll be all right. And actually what that can come across as is people thinking, oh, this person, I've had it said about me, in the past that I've got anger issues, but, people have said, in much, 20 plus years ago that I was angry. And actually, what it is that when you don't know what you're feeling, when you don't have the word for what you're feeling, when you just are experiencing that feeling in your body and your mind, and it's blocking you and it's making you, not eat or eat too much or drink or, try and strive for perfection, try and strive for being something, doing something, being perfect, then you don't know how else to express it. And so, you've got all these emotions. So I sat with this lady and we explored what she was feeling in her body, where she was feeling it, what it shows up like for her before she kind of goes into bodyguard mode, because she's there, trying to express herself, trying to understand what she's feeling, and trying to understand why it's making her feel the way that it's making her feel, and trying to express that and get the support that she needs for the way that she's feeling. So we sat and we did a lot of exploration. We got curious. I'm all about exploration and curiosity. And started to kind of think about what are some of the feelings, where they're sitting in the body, the way that she feels in herself, the way that she sits in her body, also the thoughts that she has about herself. And there was this opening up of a plethora of emotions that she'd not actually had the ability, nor somebody saying to her, please let me know, please, I'm here, I'm here to hold it, I'm here to listen to it, I'm here to, let's work this out. Nobody had really said that to her before. And so when we started to explore these emotions, so behind this bodyguard of anger that was getting her through, getting her frustrated, getting her through the day, getting her through being told that she was angry. Well, if you're telling me I'm going to be angry, then yeah, I'm going to be it, because you're not listening to anything else that I'm trying to tell you. You're not listening to anything else that I'm trying to express. And I don't know that I've actually got the fucking words to say what it is that is sitting in my body right now, in my heart and my mind. So yeah, it comes across as anger. And we just explored and we got curious, and there was frustration, there was disappointment, there was loneliness, there was sadness, there was isolation, there was fear, there was being scared of who she is, being scared of other people, being scared of who she could be. And there were so many others. I've asked her actually to continue to do that exploration, which she's gone off to do, and she's doing an amazing job of doing that. But one of the things that was really, really clear was that nobody was listening. And if you know anything about me, if you come across me before, if you've worked with me, if you read any of my other posts, if you just understand what is actually an inherent kind of soul-led value of mine, not a value necessarily in my, it's not, I don't separate the business and the personal values so much, but it is listening, even when there are no words. So you can listen without there being any words to what you're saying, to how somebody is expressing themselves. And if you go in with it, oh, you're just having anger issues, you're not listening. We never say to people, wow, you're having happy issues, and it's a really lovely thing. We never say that. We never celebrate the happy. We go in with a label of what people perceive as a bad thing, which is anger, sadness. And that's people not feeling comfortable with what you're experiencing. And it's often because we're not comfortable in what we're experiencing either. But trying to explain it to somebody who blocks with, you've just got anger issues, you're going to permanently stay stuck because nobody's listening. And just the ability to open up this lady's capacity to listen to herself. Because I said to her, we're not going to change those people's minds right now. The mind that we need to change is yours about yourself. So the ability for her to listen, to acknowledge where some of her feelings are sitting in her body, to acknowledge and try and give them a name and an understanding of how long they've been around and where they've been around from, and then responding to that. Because each emotion that you have, and this is another huge thing of mine, every single emotion that you have is valid. There are no bad or good. There are no positive, negative. They're unpleasant and pleasant, but every single emotion that you have is signposting you to a need. If you don't listen to that need within yourself, you're not acknowledging your needs. You're blocking your needs. When you open up your exploration and your curiosity or acceptance that you have an emotion, that you are feeling something, that you are experiencing something that is pleasant or unpleasant, let's go with the unpleasant, because most of the people I work with have unpleasant emotions that they don't want around. When you acknowledge and accept that you're having those, you give yourself the pause to be able to choose how you respond to them. You give yourself the pause to say, what is it that I need? What are you telling me? What's my body telling me? What's this emotion telling me? I'm sad. I see that I'm sad. I feel that I'm sad. I'm aware that I'm sad. What is it that I need? And can I get that from myself, or am I needing to go and find that and seek that from somebody else? And as soon as you stop and give yourself that pause, that acknowledgement, that awareness that you have this emotion, that you have this feeling that is a compass to what you need, you give yourself the capacity to be able to respond to it. And you can do that in a co-regulated way. Because often you're not often self-regulating when you've experienced trauma. So you do that in a co-regulated way, just like I did. I became the co-regulator for my lovely, beautiful client this week to say to herself, what is it that she needs? How does she get it? Where does she get it from? Well, it starts with me in the relationship with her, that I listened and I took away a label that somebody else had been giving to her for years and years. A label that was saying that what she was experiencing behind the bodyguard of anger was actually not valid and didn't have a space. So when we're able to say to whoever is with us, whoever we're listening to, when we're able to say, I'm open, I'm here for all those emotions, we get to be able to give people the opportunity, and I give people the opportunity to create that pause that says, what do I need? How am I going to meet that need? Where do I get that from? Can I give it to myself? No, maybe I can't give it to myself right now. So if I can't give it to myself right now, where can I get it from? But you acknowledge that there's a need. You accept that there's an emotion where it's sitting. I've got another beautiful client who has, like many of my clients, a very healthy side eye of skepticism. And I did a lovely piece of parts work with her. I'm an IFS therapist, and so I did a lovely piece of parts work with her. And we explored where her emotions were sitting in her body and how they show up and where they show up. And they were showing up in all sorts of different ways in her body. And she started having a conversation with those. It's very, very, she has a wonderful skepticism, which I want everybody to have. One should never just dive in and kind of hope for the best. Have your healthy skepticism, get curious, because skepticism means that you'll get curious. Skepticism means you'll explore. If you're just blindly going in and going, yes, I'm just going to accept everything, then you're not being curious, you're not being exploratory. So I love my clients to have that skepticism, because it also challenges me as well. Challenges me to be to not prove, not prove that this will work for them, but actually just be able to open up all my skills to them too. So if you've been hearing labels about what you've experienced in the way that you show up, I mean, Laura's said one of my nicknames is Raw because of the way people see her. Thank you for sharing that, Laura. That's just think of all the labels that people might have said about the way that you're feeling because of their interpretation of that emotional expression, without giving pause to say, I can see you're angry right now. I can see you're showing me something in this particular way. And giving yourself pause to say, well, what is it that's behind that? I'm feeling angry, but that's like the bodyguard expression of what I'm experiencing deeper down. And allow yourself the capacity to acknowledge that there's sadness, there's frustration, there's disappointment, there's so many, but there's loneliness, there's isolation, there's lack of self-worth, lack of self-esteem. And when you listen to that, when you listen to what's behind the bodyguard, then you acknowledge, you accept, you say, what's it telling me that I need? And can I get that from myself right now? Or do I need a co-regulator? Do I need somebody to help me to understand, to unpick, this spider web of emotions that I'm experiencing that overwhelm me sometimes, and I don't know what to do with them because they just overwhelm my whole system. So acknowledge, accept. So notice, acknowledge, accept. Identify the need, extract that need from that emotion, and respond to that need in the way that might be helpful for you. On its very simplest level, if you're feeling lonely and you need someone, pick up the phone. I do it myself. I spend a lot of time here on my own. And I don't get lonely. I am actually very comfortable in myself. But I remember a couple of weeks ago just kind of going, I'm feeling it. I'm sat on my own. It's Easter Sunday. I've cleaned everywhere. And I just thought, actually, this feels a bit lonely because there's so many people out with their families, and and I've got an amazing set of friends, and I've got amazing people in my family. But I just kind of went, okay, feeling this. And I let my friend know, and we got on the phone and we had a conversation and we worked it through. And that's at its very basic level, And when you've experienced trauma, there are so many other emotions that will come, that flood the system. And the way that we try and manage those is through the bodyguard emotion, the anger emotion. So I'm just going to put my glasses on because I can't see. Teresa's saying, when people normally tell me I have anger issues, it's normally to tell me to shut up. is because people aren't comfortable with the uncomfortable. And unpleasant emotions, when you're experiencing them and when you're with somebody who's experiencing them, can feel really uncomfortable. And so what we try and do, not me, because I'm actually super comfortable, as you can tell, with unpleasant emotions and challenging and overwhelming emotions. I wouldn't be doing what I do if I wasn't, you know. If I was scared of those emotions from other people, I would not be doing what I'm doing. Nothing scares me about emotions. But what other people do, and a bit like my lovely lady, you know, this week, what people do to try and shut you down because they're not comfortable with what you're expressing, is they give you the label. You've got anger issues. I mean, it's why I don't go in for things like anger management. I'm not, you know, let's talk about emotional regulation. Let's talk about emotional balance. Let's talk about emotional resilience. And resilience is, you know, emotional resilience is not about getting through grit and determination. It's about the transformation of acceptance and acknowledgement and responding, noticing what you need, responding and acting on that need, so that you create a transformational process for yourself. And if you can't do that on your own, then you seek someone like me who helps you to do that. So if you're sitting thinking, this makes sense, just take away the labels. Take away those labels that other people have given you and start acknowledging that there's a bodyguard that's trying to protect you from these really vulnerable emotions, because maybe you haven't got somebody safe and you don't feel safe in yourself to respond to what you need. So it comes out with the, like I said, sword and shield, you know, anger comes in and goes, I've got it, guys, I've got it, come on, you know, because nobody's here to help. Nobody's listening, nobody's understanding, nobody feels safe. When you start to feel safe with someone and feel safe with yourself, you are able then to respond to your emotions in a much more regulated way, much more connected with yourself way. And I kind of wanted to end on, and realize I've probably gone way over my 20 minutes that I said. Did I say 10 minutes? Did I say 15? I do go over all the time. I had a really difficult conversation with the women in my membership last Saturday, the Saturday before. And it was about emotions. And it was a kind of hard-hitting conversation. And I'm sure they won't mind me sharing. That had me saying to them, you will never get rid of unpleasant emotions. If you think healing and recovery is about never feeling an unpleasant emotion ever again, then sorry, you're going to be sadly mistaken. You're going to be let down, because it's not about never feeling those emotions. It's about being able to, when you feel them, healing and recovery is about being able to, when you feel those, is to be able to regulate them in a way that is much safer than the way that you have had to do it in survival. So you've got this balance. That's what emotional regulation is. That's what nervous system regulation is. That's what balance is. It's all about, and that's what resilience is. It's all about being able to acknowledge that you can have those emotions and manage them and regulate them and balance them and respond to them in a safer and healthier way than you've had to do in survival and threat mode. So there was like, oh, you're not going to make them go away. I said, no, we're not going to make them, you know, you can't make unpleasant emotions disappear. You can reduce them, you can bring balance to the ones that you've experienced, you can reduce those down, you can increase the happiness and the joy. And happiness is the number one emotion that every single woman and child I've ever worked with over the last 24 years wants to feel. happy. And you can feel that and bring that to the forefront, but acknowledge that sometimes you're going to feel sad. Sometimes you're going to feel lonely. Sometimes you're going to feel dejected and frustrated and blah, blah, all the other ones. But you can work with them. You can regulate them in a much different, healthy, safe way. So just to finish, strip the labels back. You don't have anger issues. You don't have conduct disorder. The amount of times I've heard that with children. You don't have a conduct disorder. You know, all the other labels that go along with an emotional expression. You have emotions. And some are bigger than others. Some are more overwhelming than others. But your anger is your bodyguard. So give yourself pause to acknowledge, to accept, to notice what you're feeling, to notice where you're feeling it and how it's showing up. And give yourself the pause to be able to say, there's a need here. How do I meet that need? And if I can't do that for myself right now, what do I need to do? So there we go. My slightly longer than 10-minute live. So I'm going to love you and leave you. If you have any questions, please do ask. I'm always here for that. And if you need to chat anything through, I'm always here for that too. Yeah, you do not have anger issues. You have emotions, and they are all valid. So love you and leave you. I will see you next Thursday. Take care and lots of love.